This video real quick is about putting some radius lines on your grind disc, some skate sharpeners, just so you know what you've got left in the disc. So I take a ruler, go through and measure. You can either use English or metric, but I put some radius lines on here so as you use up the disc you kind of know where you are. That's a 9/11 disc right there for Wissota. Okay, here's the radius marks I'm putting on a Wissota disc, a 9/11. Take a metric scale and put the 10 right here in the center of the hole, and then that would be 5, that would be 6, 7, and 8 centimeters. So I just marked how many centimeters away from the edge of the disc right there. This is for this Wissota 9/11. This is a 7" by 3/8. It's got a 1/2 inch bore. So there I've gone through and marked the radius on a Wissota 9/11 disc. 7, 8 millimeters, whatever. So as you use the disc up, you can see the 8. When it kisses this, you're at 8. There's at 7, 6, 5. Then I put some little dots at 1/2 centimeter, 5 millimeters. So those are just another indicator. This is another disc. On skate sharpeners that use grind discs, which is most of them, the disc wears when you sharpen skates, and so a useful indicator is you put a Sharpie mark with the radius. You can use either metric or English, but the purpose of this is to kind of see how fast you're using up the stone, you know, and also to let you know when you're getting to the bottom. And when I say the bottom, you get to a point, let's say, on a sharpener where you can adjust it all the way in and you've got no more stone left, and you can get also to where the surface velocity is low, and then you've got a problem where the doesn't tend to grind as well. And so the composition of the discs generally is guaranteed to be good into here. You get toward the center, you can sometimes get to where it doesn't matter what brand you have, you can get to where the it's not as good or guaranteed. It's more of a questionable thing. So what I like to do is take the discs and go through and put marks on them. So here's one I use English markings. So there's a radius of 6 1/4. There's a 6 there, and 6 1/2. So I've got the radiuses marked. Kind of sloppy on there, but at least I kind of, if I'm using this, I kind of know how fast, like an indicator, how fast I'm using up the stone. On a little bitty stone here, like for a incredible edger, what that little mark means here, that means it's 2, that's 2 centimeters from the center. That's 3 marks, that's 3 centimeters from the center. That's 2 1/2. And so I can kind of, I'll put a 3 behind that and a 2 also. But if I go over here on an Easy Sharp, this is an 8" disc. This is used up a little bit. It's a little bit smaller than a brand new disc over here. You can see some's been used. So I've got here an 8 centimeters, 7 centimeters, a 6 centimeters, and a 5. You want to write it to where when you kiss this you can still read the number. So this is just a good indicator to see how much you've got left. This is for an SSM2, and over there I've got this type. It's got a 38 millimeter bore, 150 ID. There's a mark for 7, 6, 5, and 4. Once this is on the machine, you can go ahead and hold a Sharpie here and spin this around, and you get the line all the way around. Or you can just turn this around like this to find where you're at. Now, what's deceiving is you go through and you use this up, and once you get toward the inner diameter, you've got less area exposed, so you end up using this thing up quicker. So if you went through and you used X number of skates to do a centimeter here, you're going to get less number here because you've got less edge around there. It's almost like this was a piece of candy, and you want to see how much the inner ring's got less surface area than the outer ring. There's a Howie's disc, which is it's the same as this. That's a Blade Master down there. And normally you should keep a piece of cardboard under there. I'm just doing this for the video. Those are 2 unused discs, and I've got an X for 10 centimeters, a 9, an 8, and a 7. So sometimes I just want to see how fast I'm using up a disc. This is for a Pro Sharp machine, AS 2001, excuse me, and this is a 7, 6, 5 centimeter and a 4. And there's the half marks. I haven't put one on there yet. Of course, all these machines have different size hubs. And this little guy here for the Incredible Edger, they bumped the RPM up. So even though this is a small diameter disc, the surface velocity is about the same as on a larger disc here. This is for the X02 and X01 disc here. It looks like this little guy. So when you're using a disc, what happens is you're going to go ahead and, you'll be going along here, and then if you're just doing skates continuously, it's like this all of a sudden will tend to go, you use the disc up way quicker toward the center because you got less circumference around here as it's getting smaller. You get into physical limitations again because you can't physically get in here to hit it no matter how you move the guard in, and also the surface velocity is less. It's like an easy sharp machine here. You go through and has a piece you move back and forth here like this. So as you use the disc up, you got to move this forward and you lock it down over here. This uses a regular 8-inch disc with a 1 1/4. You don't want to get too tight there. I might have that a little bit too tight. Back it off just to some. And there's one of my marks. Let me know where I'm at. This is a white Howie's disc. There's a white one from Easy Sharp that's about the same as that. And I also like to put the date on here, just so I know if I'm swapping back and forth when I put one on a machine, if I'm trying to keep track of what's going on. And also when you put it on a machine, you should hold it like this and hit it. It should tap. Hit it with a little piece of wood. It should have a nice ring to it. If it's got a dull thud, it's got a crack in it. Probably better to hold that on a pencil. That's an old trick for grind wheels. This little guy fits the Incredible Edger. Some of these, like on this, they have a deal you can move it back and forth, and they have a set of balance little thing on it to try to get balanced if you have any balance issues. If you got one of these that's got a thicker, more dense it over here and here, you will get a shake in the machine, which isn't good. I haven't really had that much problem with that. They always talk about balancing of wheels. And the different colors sometimes have to do with the composition, like the pink wheels are generally the hardest, pink and red. And then this SSM2 one here, see, this one's been used. This particular one is 150 millimeters, say 6 inches. And we've got to get my metric scale on there. So that's a brand new disc. This is one that's been used a little bit on here. I've got a blue one on the machine. Most of these, like here's the SM2, they got the label on both sides. Here, this is the Blackstone little X series. It's got this type of label on the bottom, this on the top. Normally you keep the label up. They say that's due to balancing. It can also be the reference surface on some machines that are indexed with a self-centering clamp. It's also, so if you take the top off, you can look at it and maybe it's got the type of disc on there. On the Pro Sharp on here, this 70 is the grit on here, which is a good thing they market. A lot of these, they just kind of don't really, I think the Howie's ones, they kind of mention in the advertising. This is a Blade Master 88R precision balance, and this is some stuff I used for another video showing what the on the ancient Wasota S8 what the minimum radius of curvature. I used that as a aid to show that. And I should go ahead and put the round pieces between those. I just pulled this out because that's going to go in another location on there. And here's on the medium one from ICE. It says maximum speed 10,620 RPM. And that's called a medium stone. I make a blue stone like that too. So sometimes I don't really tell, but generally the color gives it away. So the hub is all different on these. Just to round it out, here's one from an old Champion machine. It's got a 1/2 inch bore, but it's a different thickness. This is an old belt driven unit from the Dark Ages.